Hello. So it's been a few days. I ended up having to work an extra day in there. Then I caught up on some sleep on that extra day. So I apologize for the delay. I just rewatched that last video and whew, man, that was a lot. So the one thing that I caught in there is that I said that I was ward of state for Arizona, and I was the ward of state of West Virginia. And they sent me to Arizona with my mother. So, totally misspoke on that one, but it was the state of West Virginia that retained custody of me. That's important because on this next part, that's why I end up getting sent back to West Virginia. But of course, that will come in later on. So anyway, I had said that in this video I really wanted to talk about the emotional aspect of going through all that I had went through, because like I said, when I'm talking about the story, it's more just the facts while I'm talking about it, because that's the easiest way for me to get through the story. Can't really mix the emotion in with it, because then it just gets to be too much for me. Even when I'm telling you about what's going on, I'm actually seeing it happening in my mind's eye. It's like you're watching that video replay in your head. So it's very difficult for me. So I have to keep that separated, because otherwise it's just too much. So anyway, thank you for coming back. Thank you so much for watching the videos. I truly hope that they're helping someone. If not you, then somebody. I hope that these are helpful. Again, that is my only goal. There's no ulterior motive here. I'm not enjoying being on camera. I don't like it. It makes me very self-conscious. I am getting up there in age. So looking at myself in the camera is not something I enjoy. But anyway, so emotionally, I think probably the most damaging thing was probably my self-image, the way that I saw myself. It took me, God, I don't know, probably a good 30 years before I could see myself in a good light after all of that, where I actually looked at myself and said, I'm a pretty damn good person. I like who I am. I like the person that I'm becoming. And I am a worthy person. I deserve happiness. I deserve to be in a good place. It took a long time to get to that point. That did not happen overnight. That took a very long time to get there. When I left my dad's house, I did not know what was coming. I did not know how angry I was going to become. I had no idea. I only knew how to express things through anger. I was never allowed to cry. I was never allowed to show pain. I wasn't allowed to show hurt. I wasn't allowed to show any of that. So when it came to being able to express my emotions, I only knew how to express things through anger. And so that became very counterproductive. And it put me in some really bad places. I guess the only way to really explain is to go ahead and go into the next chapter. When I first went to Arizona with my mom, I had no idea what kind of person I was going to be. I was always the type of kid who would give you the shirt off my back. If I had 2 sodas, a grape and a strawberry, and I love the grape soda, didn't really care for the strawberry, but you wanted that grape soda, I would have given you the grape soda and drank the strawberry. That's who I was. I was always that giving kid. That was just my heart. There was a time, and I don't know if I shared this in one of the videos or not, honestly, because I haven't gone back and watched all of them. I think it was maybe the first one and the last one that I actually went back and watched. The rest of them I have not. But there was a time where I had actually gotten selected, where I believe it was the Law Enforcement Association or something, somebody there in West Virginia, and I don't want to say the city because that would kind of narrow down the family, but I had gotten picked for this Christmas thing where you actually get to go and we got to pick gifts for ourselves for Christmas, and it was for less fortunate families, and this was pre-sibling, I believe, or I don't know, maybe my siblings were there, I don't remember. Anyway, because this is just like an example. But anyway, so we were given an allotment of how much we were allowed to use, or how many things or whatever. Anyway, I had gotten myself like one thing, and then the rest of it I used to be able to do gifts for, Dad, the evil stepmother. I was never about, oh, what can I do for myself? Let me do this for myself. I was never that kind of kid. I was always wanting to do for others. And I'm still like that today. I mean, that is who I am. That's my makeup. That's who I've always been. Or if I would make a little bit of money for allowance, I remember going and buying flowers and, and giving them to Dad and his evil wife, the evil stepmother. Just things like that. I was always wanting to do nice things for people. And it didn't matter what they were doing to me. I wanted to make other people happy. And some people will tell you that that's not good. And maybe it's not good in some situations, but that's just who I was. So that's who I was. And then I went through all these things, and even though that was still there in my makeup, was still a part of me, now I'm dealing with all these raw emotions that I'm not accustomed to. I'm not accustomed to being pissed off all the time. Somebody says hello to you and you just fucking fly off the handle. Okay? That started happening before I ever left Dad's house, but it was very controlled because I was still under his care. Now I'm at my mom's house and it's not controlled at all because my mom's not abusive. Not physically. She doesn't put her hands on me. Okay? I'm with my grandparents. My grandparents are not abusive people. My grandfather had to hold me down several times, but never was he abusive. And these were times where I went after my mother, is when he had to put his hands on me. And he had to put his hands on me. He was not doing it to hurt me. He was doing it to keep me from doing something to my mom. I wanted to wear makeup, okay? I was 13 years old. I wanted to wear makeup. And I'm not sure exactly what happened with this situation. I don't know if I got into makeup and had it on wrong or it just looked bad or whatever. And my mom had made a comment about I looked like a slut or a whore or something. Something along that lines. And I snapped. And without even realizing what I was doing, I had my hands around her throat. It was not planned. I did not mean to do that. That was my reaction, like an immediate, intense anger, and that's how I reacted. And that word alone, just calling me that, knowing what I went through, I just lost it. And I don't think she meant it like that. I think it was just the way that I had the makeup applied. Maybe I did look like that. I don't know. I don't remember what I looked like. I don't remember how I applied it. It was what she said that sticks out in my mind. That's all I remember. And I remember the fact that I put my hands on her. And that Grandpa had to hold me down. There were times when I would walk in a room and they would quit talking. And of course I would react badly to that. Why is it every time I come around, everybody quits talking? You know, that would make anybody feel bad. But then you take somebody who's gone through all this stuff and you're doing that. I mean, I did not react good to that either. I mean, anything that could have a negative response, that's exactly how I responded, was negatively. I had overheard conversations between my mother and my grandmother about, you know, how I just left my siblings out there, how I didn't do anything to try to get them away from him. Okay, I did everything I possibly could. I told them everything. Like, there's nothing else I could do. And so I felt so guilty. But rather than to be able to express to them all of that, I blew up. I mean, I completely freaking blew up. And so again, all they're seeing is all this anger. And never once was anybody trying to see, number one, that was a normal reaction, and we know that now. That's a completely normal reaction for a kid that's been through that. Okay, but at the time, I didn't know that. Okay, I was just as scared of my own anger as everybody else was. I mean, because I'm not an angry person, so where is all this coming from? You know, I didn't understand it. Okay, so anyway, and all of the time that I spent with him was not bad. I mean, but this is why I ended up pretty much being kicked out after 2 months, was because of all the anger. Now, the one thing that sticks out of my mind out of the two months that I actually lasted with my mom, is she had sat down one night and played Monopoly with me. And I will never, ever, ever forget that game of Monopoly, because that meant the world to me. It meant the world to me. Like, that game of Monopoly was 37 years ago. Of course, I say that a lot, but I was 13 at the time. And I will never, ever forget that game of Monopoly. And it was just a simple game of Monopoly. But the fact that she sat down and played the game with me, it was just me and her, I'll never forget it. Because she took that time and spent that time with me, and it was just me and her, spending time together, playing a game, having fun, and it was great. There was no talk about anything that had happened, anything I had been through, you know, no comments made, no nothing. It was just like I was an actual normal kid for like the first time. Crazy, I know. One of the other things that had happened, and my son's actually going to put a video together for me of some pictures, which I don't have many pictures of me as a kid, but he's going to put a short video together of me as a kid, and it'll be from when I was 3 days old to I was 15, and that'll cover this time frame that we're talking about now. But and this picture is double exposed, and it'll probably be well, I'll probably have him put it on there first, just so that you know that is the picture I'm talking about. But these are pictures that my mom took because there was a thing in the newspaper for a movie extra, because several movies have been shot in Tucson. I don't remember which particular movie it was at that time, but there was a thing in the newspaper for movie extras. So she had taken a bunch of pictures of me, and we were going to apply for the extra. So anyway, so we had taken a bunch of pictures, and this picture is a double exposure. Okay, this is when they were actually on film, and like double exposure, I mean like another picture actually printed on top of another picture. But anyway, this picture is so freaking cool because the actual picture that it's supposed to be is one of me smiling. But if you look right below it, you see the imprint of another picture on it of me not smiling. And to me, this picture speaks volumes, because on the outside, even though I was smiling, on the inside I never was, because I was carrying so much weight that I didn't even understand. I didn't know what was going on with me. Nobody knew what was going on with me. So anyway, so one day my mom says, okay, we're going to go over to her sister's house, my aunt's house. So we go over there, and I was told to, grab some clothes. I was going to spend a few days over there or something. I don't remember. But I know that I had some stuff with me. Not all my stuff, but some stuff. And so I wasn't thinking anything of it. And then we get over there, and I get out of the car, and then she's like, well, you're going to stay here now. You're going to live with your aunt. And then rolls up her window, and I remember pulling on her window. Like, why are you leaving me here? Why are you doing this? And that's how I found out that I had been kicked out of their house and was now moving in with my aunt. So that was fun. Yeah. Talking about getting your feelings hurt. So then I was with my aunt for about 9 months. And I have 2 cousins, which, I absolutely adored my cousins because they were really young. I want to say that my oldest cousin is just about the same age as my brother, I think. Might be a little younger than my brother. But anyway, you talk about a smart kid. Good Lord, that child, he's still extremely smart. But, man, that kid, he's probably half my age and was twice as smart as I ever was. This kid was something else. But anyway, so living with my aunt, good Lord, I hope you could hear me because I was covering up the speaker and didn't even know it. I'll have to listen back and make sure. But anyway, so, God, I hope so because that would be a whole lot to redo. Anyway, so living with my aunt and them was quite different because, I had chores, and for my chores, I believe I was getting paid like a dime per chore. Some chores were a little bit more, but it started at a dime. I know a lot of you are probably freaking out right now. But yeah, this is what we got paid for chores back then. I think some of them might have been a quarter, just depend upon what it was. And I had my own room. I'm trying to think of anything. Anyway, things went pretty well. I know that I had arguments and stuff with them. And this is when I started having female issues, and I was bleeding really, really bad. So she actually had taken me to the doctor, and they had put me on birth control. So then it was like, well, now I'm being put on birth control because, well, obviously I must be doing something wrong. So, and that wasn't it at all. I was having female problems. So, and I don't know if there was any correlation between that or not. Female problems just happens to run in my family. So, anyway, at that point I was put on birth control. But now, during this time, I was actually doing things in school that I had never done before. I was in band. I played trombone in the band. I got to march in the rodeo parade, so I was on TV. I was running track, and I was actually really good at it. And I was doing these things, and my aunt and uncle were very supportive of it. I was in therapy. I had a therapist. So, and one day, now this is the thing about therapists, okay? You will have good ones, you will have bad ones, and you will have some that should never be therapists. And I probably have already said that before. But anyway, this particular therapist that I had, we were in there talking, and anyway, the therapist had made the comment that I must have been a Nazi in my last life to have gone through all the stuff that I had been through, blaming me for what had happened to me. And I had said something to my uncle, and my uncle was pissed. I had never seen my uncle mad before. He was pissed. So needless to say, I didn't go back to that therapist again. So after that, I had gotten another therapist, and she was decent. She ended up letting me borrow a dress for my 8th grade graduation. And this is where the shit hit the fan at my aunt's house, because we ended up fighting over that dress. And things got physical. And there was no reason for it. There was no reason for it at all, okay? I wanted to wear the dress on the bus to school. She wanted to bring the dress to me at school so that it wouldn't get messed up because it was a borrowed dress. And lo and behold, I screwed that up. Yep. We got into it over that damn dress. And so I got kicked out. That's when I ended up in the group homes. So then I ended up in, and I don't know if I can say the name of these group homes or not, because I'm not sure if they still exist. So we'll just leave it at group homes. Anyway, it was a group home here in Tucson. And my first house parent was awesome. You know, she was a single lady, and I'm actually still in touch with her to this day. You know, we don't talk every day or anything, but we still talk. But anyway, she was awesome. Like, she had a good relationship with us, and that's why they had to get rid of her, because she cared about us. Now, and then the parents that came into the group home after her, actually, I came home one day to find the cops at the house because they were fighting. Yeah. So you're taking kids who have been through hell, been through that exact situation in their own homes, and putting parents in that house that are going to continue to put them through that. Now keep in mind, with the first lady that was there, our first house parent that was there when I first got there, we never had issues like that. But then with this next set of parents, oh my, yeah, and that's what we came into. They used to fight and bicker all the time, and that's not something that you want around kids who are escaping that. So anyway, while I was in that group home, I managed to ditch school all but 16 days for my first 3 periods. I ended up failing the 9th grade. I used to go hang out at a pizza joint and shoot pool all day. I was smoking pot, hanging out with the wrong crowd, sleeping with guys that didn't give a shit about me, racing cars. Yeah, I was doing all kinds of dumb shit. You know, and I was looking, I don't know if I was looking to hurt myself. I don't know. I wasn't happy with myself. So, I don't know if I was trying to look for ways to find happiness or what I was doing. I don't know if I was just acting out. I'm not sure exactly what I was trying to do. But none of those things made me happy either, because I didn't like being a bad kid. Ouch. Sorry, I'm leaning on my arm. It's kind of hard to have good light out here. So, and I didn't want to, like, just put a black video up. It would be nice not to have to look at myself, but it might be weird for you guys. So, anyway, I had stolen my grandparents' car. This is when I had run away from the group home. I had stolen my grandparents' car. I was staying at my boyfriend's house, whose dad just happened to be a cop. And then I had taken that car with him and a friend of his in it and wrecked it. Flipped the car twice, front to back. I had whiplash, something terrible. Thankfully, nobody got seriously injured. Then when they went out and actually seen the car, they said that it was a miracle that anybody walked away from that, because the car was pancaked. Like, the whole top of the car was smashed in. But we did. We walked away from it, all 3 of us. So that was one time when we know that there was intervention on our behalf. Because, like, seriously, we all three walked away from it. The next biggest stupid thing I did, I had stolen my mother's car, and I had it for a few days, and then I ended up getting arrested on that one, and that was when I actually got kicked out of Arizona and sent back to West Virginia. But, of course, I was drinking and carrying on. One time I had actually almost seriously injured myself because I was on antidepressants and didn't know that, alcohol and antidepressants don't really mix. So I was on imipramine or topiramate, I don't know how to say it now. Anyway, imipramine is the generic, I believe, for it. And, or maybe it's the other way around, I don't know. But anyway, and I was drinking Jim Beam. And I was wasted. So, yeah, totally freaked out. I was beating up the car. Yeah, not a pretty picture. So, yeah, all of this was happening by the time I was 15. So, at that point, I had actually gotten kicked out of that group home and moved to a different group home under the same company. And when I had run away from that group home and gotten locked up for my mother's car, that was when I got kicked out and sent back to West Virginia. So when they were putting me on the plane to send me back, my mother actually came to the airport, would not speak to me, just completely ignored me. She just wanted to make sure I got on the plane and left. Well, so, like I said, I went from being abused to abusing myself and put myself in really bad situations. I was lashing out. I hated the world. I didn't understand why I felt the way I did. I hated myself. Like, I didn't trust anybody. There was one point where I had, and this was, I want to say it was around my 15th birthday. My mom had actually taken me out for my birthday. We went to a Chinese place. And we were drinking the green tea. And I thought that was so cool because we were drinking hot tea together. And it was the green tea. But anyway. And we were sitting there and we had a good conversation and stuff. At this time, I was already smoking. So anytime we were getting to an argument or something like at the group home, all I'd have to do is light a cigarette and she'd leave. So, and I don't know why I threw that in there, but anyway. So, and I would do that. So, like, if we were getting into it and I didn't want to talk to her anymore, I would light a cigarette, she would leave. So anyway, this is my birthday lunch, and we were getting along pretty good. So, and I want to say it was right after that, or, and it was before I stole her car, because I'm pretty sure I stole her car after this happened. But anyway, I had taken my money, and I don't know if I was intentionally planning on stealing her car, or if I just decided spur of the moment. But I had taken my allowance, and I had seen one of those Crayola bears, and this was 88, I believe. Yeah, it would have had to have been 88. So, anyway, I had seen one of those Crayola bears. Crayola bears? It was a crayon bear. But anyway, it was the blue one. And I don't know if her favorite color is blue or not. My favorite color is blue. And I've always thought that hers was, but maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know if I ever actually asked her. I think I just thought it was because she wore blue a lot. But I had bought that teddy bear for her. And I had taken it to her. And we must have gotten into it before that or something. But as a kid, it's like you don't always carry that with you. You still love the person. But my mother holds grudges. Okay. So when I had taken that bear to her, she had told me that I was just like my dad, always trying to buy people. And you talk about hurt. I mean, that crushed me. I mean, that really, really hurt me. And it was right after that I took her car. And I'm not saying that justifies it. I'm just saying that happened. And it wasn't until the last time that I was at my sister's house that I realized how bad that hurt me. One, I've never talked about it, because they didn't even know about that. I had never said anything about it. It's just one of those things you carry with you. You know, when you have one parent that raped you for all these years, beat the shit out of you, and done all this stuff to you, you can't, there's no comparison between the two parents. This one abused the shit out of you. And so, you know, this one hurt your feelings a few times. You know, maybe they weren't emotionally available to you, but it's not really considered abuse in your head. Okay? Other people would look at that and be like, wow, so you kind of got abused on both sides. Okay, maybe it was, but I never looked at it that way. That doesn't mean that I didn't harbor ill feelings towards my mom, because I did. But then, it was so much easier for me to be pissed off at my mom than it was for me to be pissed off at my dad, because I was afraid of my dad. I wasn't afraid of my mom. So yeah, I went through a lot of shit with my mom, but she never hurt me the way that my dad did. She hurt me, but not in the way or to the caliber that my dad did. I still carry a lot of things that my mom, you know, things that happened between me and my mom, I still carry a lot of that because I never dealt with it. You know, I was too busy dealing with all this shit over here. And even though I've talked about all this shit with my dad a hell of a lot more than I have with my mom, and the stuff with my mom takes me by surprise because I haven't really talked about it, because I was too busy dealing with the other shit. So I don't know if that makes any sense. So it just really takes me by surprise. You know, because I actually started crying about it when I was talking to my sister and them about it the other day. And it wasn't that, it was something else. Oh, it was Mother's Day, this last Mother's Day. Okay, I had gotten my mom a gift from her dogs, because my mom treats her dogs better than she did us as kids. As far as, you know, those are her babies. And, well, anyway, we're not going to go there. But, so I had gotten her a gift for her for Mother's Day from the dogs. And then I had gotten her a card for Mother's Day. And I was planning on getting her like a gift certificate or something to get her hair done or whatever, because she likes to go and get her hair done. So I was planning on getting it out like the Thursday before Mother's Day. And Tommy, my son, my oldest son, which I probably shouldn't have said his name, but anyway, very common name, so. But anyway, he actually came down with COVID. And so my mother has been freaking out over COVID ever since COVID started. Like, we weren't allowed to hug her, nothing. And there's a lot of people like that, so I'm not like judging or nothing. I'm just saying, I didn't get like that, because to me, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. And I'm very careful that, you know, if I feel like I'm getting sick or anything, I stay the hell away from people, because I'm not going to be one to give it to somebody else. But if I'm going to get it, well, I'm going to get it. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop showing compassion or caring about people in the process. You know, I'm still going to care about people. And if I get it, well, then I'll go to my room. You know, if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. And however that happens, it happens. And that's just my belief. You know, all of us have our own beliefs. Kind of like opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. Same with beliefs. Everybody's got their own. Anyways, so Mother's Day. So anyway, I ended up not getting her card out because Tommy had COVID. And I figured that she would rather I not, be touching the card and it come from a house that has COVID in it and me send it to her. So I thought, okay, well, we're going up there, so I'll just take it up with me when we go. That and her gift. So Mother's Day rolls around, and I think it was like maybe a week or so after Mother's Day when we were going up there. I don't remember. But anyway, I was just planning on bringing it up there, and I had told her Happy Mother's Day and everything, and that I hadn't gotten her card in the mail, and so we'd just bring it up. Well, it was like a week maybe later when she was like, she just texted me out of the blue, and she's like, well, I never got my Mother's Day card, so if you haven't sent it out yet, just keep it till next year. You probably can't see my eyes, but I'm just kind of like looking side to side because I was totally blown away by that. Okay, even considering the way I was raised, I was still never raised to, one, expect things from people. I never expect things from people. I don't put expectations on people because generally people will let you down. Anyway, it just really hurt my feelings because just the way that she came at me, and then she kept telling, she kept telling my sister that she didn't mean anything by it, that she didn't mean it that way. Okay, how else was I supposed to take it? Because if you're telling me, no, just put it up for next year, you're telling me you don't want it. You're telling me that because I couldn't get it in the mail on time, just forget it, that it's not that important. Okay, so it seriously hurt my feelings. Okay, that was what reminded me of the bear. And so when I was sitting up there talking to my sister, because I was extremely upset about it, that's when I had started telling them about what happened with the bear, and I had started crying. And I guess they were just kind of taken aback, because one, I'd never said anything about it, and I was 15 when that happened. And it's just the way that my mother comes across sometimes. And I honestly don't know. I don't think she means anything by it. I just think that she doesn't really think about how it might come across to people. And so it just came across really harsh. And it hurt. It did. It hurt. I'm just going to be honest. It fucking hurt. So, and I'm 50 years old, and that hurt. And you'd think I would be used to it by now because, I've been dealing with her for 50 years. And we have clashes like that. My grandfather passed away in 16, and we weren't speaking at the time that he got sick. And so when he got really sick, then I decided that I would set things aside because that's her dad, and let bygones be bygones, and just let it go. And I believe that was the thing over the pictures. But anyway, and so I just started talking to her again. Okay, since my grandfather's passed, I have learned to bite my tongue with my mother, because otherwise we probably would not be talking more than what we actually talk. Now we actually talk pretty regular, and it's because I bite my tongue so much. Because otherwise we probably wouldn't be talking. So on that I have to pat myself on the back because I'm learning. It doesn't mean that she doesn't hurt my feelings. It just means that, one, I have to consider where it's coming from. We have actually talked a little bit about, some of the ways that she grew up and things, and so I have to realize that, even though something she says might really, really hurt me, she probably doesn't mean anything by it, and maybe it's because of the way that she was raised. And I'm not saying that she was raised abusively, because my grandparents were amazing. But maybe as parents, maybe things were more difficult. You know, by the time they got around to being grandparents, they got that shit figured out. I don't know. And they were amazing. I loved my grandparents very much. Like, they weren't perfect by any means. But, I loved them all the same. So, anyway, I had mentioned something a minute ago. The pictures. So this was a few years ago. I did not know that there were baby pictures of me. I didn't think there were any. I didn't think that there were any pictures of me as a kid. So one day, I had not asked or anything. My mom had brought out a bunch of pictures, and I'm going through them, and I'm just freaking amazed because there's all these pictures of me in there. And I didn't know that there's any pictures of me in existence. Like, none. And she was going to let me have all these pictures, right? Okay, well, there is one picture of me and my sister when we were really little, and my mom was in the picture. Okay, my mom's very private. She doesn't want anybody to know anything about her, which is why I've said before, me even talking about her is going to piss her off. But then this is part of my story. So anyway, there were all these, like, she gave me all these pictures, told me I could keep these pictures, not to post them, anything of her. So anyway, I had posted this one picture of me and my sister that she was in. But when I posted this picture, I wasn't even thinking about her being in the picture. Okay? I was thinking of it because it's me and my sister when we're really little. So it's not even crossing my mind that she's in this picture. Okay? Because we're talking more than 40 years ago. Okay? So I had posted the picture, and I was just like in shock because I didn't know these pictures existed. And so anyway, her ex-husband, I guess, got in touch with her to let her know that I had posted a picture of her. Or had commented to her about the picture, about her being in that picture. Sorry, there was a bug. And so she wanted all the pictures back. So the pictures that I actually have of me as a kid that I'm going to have my son put together for you are pictures of those pictures, because I don't have any pictures. I had to give them all back to her. But it's just things like that. And I told her, it's like, look, I wasn't even trying to post a picture of you. I wasn't even looking at you in the picture. I was looking at me and my sister. Because to me, these pictures never existed. I did not know that there were any pictures. Like, I'm ecstatic of the fact that there's even a picture of me and my sister when we're that little. Like, this was before you guys even got divorced. Like, I didn't even know any of these were around. As far as I knew, there were no pictures of me as a kid. So anyway, yeah. So that was a big thing. But it's just different things like that happen. I'm sure some people say, well, you shouldn't have posted a picture of her. Like I said, my intention was never to post a picture of her. It wasn't even dawning on me that she was even in the damn picture. My focus was on me and my sister, because I was just ecstatic over the fact that there was a picture of me and my sister. So yeah, like I said. But anyway, so my mother and I have definitely had our ups and downs over the years. There have been times when I really, really, really needed my mom and she just wasn't available. So when I got sent back to West Virginia, I was sent back to a emergency children's shelter, because the group home that I was being sent to was actually on vacation, and they wouldn't be back for, I think it was 10 days. I was supposed to be there for 10 days before I went to the group home. So I'm at this shelter, and within the next 10 days, my life is going to change for the next 10 and a half years. So, and I think it's 8 days in. Yeah, 8 days in. So it would have been the 16th. So it would have been like the 8th of July when I left Arizona. And my mom was at the airport, refused to talk to me. Didn't know when or if I was going to see her again. Nothing. Refused to talk to me. She just wanted to make sure that I got on the plane and left. So, of course, I spent the majority of the plane ride crying. So I get to West Virginia. I get picked up. And they take me to this emergency children's shelter. Where they check me in. They do all the paperwork. And I'm talking to the worker. And, I wonder if I should stop this one here and then start another one, because I don't like to make really long videos, because you might not want to listen to all this. So maybe I'll go ahead and do that. Because this is going to start like another whole part of my life. Yeah, maybe we better do that. So now I'm back in West Virginia. In the next video, we're going to pick it up from where I got to the children's shelter, doing the intake and everything. And we will go from there. I don't know if I actually fulfilled what I said I was going to do. I mean, I hope that I was able to get across some of the emotional issues I was going through. I actually ended up in the psychiatric hospital at least one time that I remember. I was there for 16 days until they finally kicked me out, because I just kept plotting to escape. So they gave up, medicated me, and sent me on. I was on quite a few different medications throughout the years, but anyway, I hope that I got it across. I mean, I was a mess the whole time that I was striking out at people. I didn't want to be striking out at people. Like, the whole time that I'm doing it, I didn't want to be doing it. I wanted to stop doing it. I just didn't know how. And I don't know if that makes any sense at all. But like, the whole time that I'm fighting with people or cussing people out or just doing off the wall shit, drinking and acting like a little asshole. I didn't want to be doing those things, but I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know how to stop being the jerk, because that's how all those emotions were coming out of me. It's like I couldn't sit down and just have a conversation and say, look, I'm feeling like shit. I don't know how to deal with all this. I was expressing it with all the anger that was coming out, that constant anger that was coming out of me. And that was all I knew. That was all I could do. Alright, seriously. That light is drawing all these bugs, and I am not a bug person. Like, bugs scare the crap out of me. We might have to move this inside, because I can't do creepy crawly shit. Alright, anyway. So I hope that made some kind of sense. I hope that I was able to fulfill what I said I was going to do. I know sometimes I get so caught up in what the hell I'm talking about that I forget what the hell I'm supposed to be talking about. So anyway, and plus I'm old, so there's that. But anyway, I am going to go ahead and continue on with the story, because life keeps getting in the way, and I'm not getting these things recorded as quickly as I would like. And I had an idea the other day. I think what I would really like to do with this channel, once I can get my story going, is I would like to be able to maybe talk to people and get them to tell their stories, and not always about sexual abuse, not always about, being locked up or, domestic violence or things like that. Just you know, whatever it is that they've gone through that might help somebody else by hearing about it. If they're willing. They gotta find willing people first. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. I hope that, you know, something I've said is able to help you in some way. Have a great night. God bless. Please keep me in your prayers. I will definitely be keeping you in mind. And I will see you in the next video shortly. Have a great night. Bye.